Hi, friends. Today, let's talk about what are the myths and facts about homeopathy. I am Dr. Anish Vaknali. I've been practicing for the past 25 years. I specialize in chronic diseases and I have also specialized in certain conditions to do with the behavior and development of children, such as autism, ADHD, ODD, developmental issues like CP, epilepsy, etc. So you all heard that homeopathy is absolutely safe and has no side effects. So let's start with the myths and facts about it, and let's first address this particular point that it has no side effects. Well, you'll be surprised to know that it's not completely true, and generally speaking, yes, homeopathy has absolutely no side effects. Uh, when you compare it to the effects of allopathic medicines. Well, said that, do not think that you can take homeopathic medicines over the counter indefinitely because every medicine, may it be homeopathic, allopathic, Ayurvedic, they all have some medicinal effect. So if you do take homeopathic medicines indefinitely over the counter, just like a lot of people do, they see a lot of YouTube videos and they hear that a particular remedy is very good for a particular condition and then they keep taking it indefinitely. Well, be careful because if you take the wrong remedy or if you take a remedy for too long, there can be a condition called proving, which means you could develop certain signs and symptoms which you didn't have before and are actually the signs and symptoms that that remedy is capable of producing in you. So you could develop something that you didn't have before, and only a trained homeopath would be able to identify these symptoms, and he would either withdraw that remedy or you would change that remedy, if at all, and when you are under his care. Now, so generally speaking, yes, you are absolutely safe if you take homeopathic medicines, and that's the reason why most parents prefer it for their children, right? So don't worry, you are in good hands when you're in the hands of a good homeopath, but do not take medicines over the counter indefinitely without having knowledge about them. So that's the first point. That was the first myth uh, and fact about homeopathy, which is very commonly asked in our clinics. The second one is most people think that homeopathy can cure all conditions. Definitely not. I mean, you could cure maybe 80 to 90% of the conditions, but there are a lot of conditions which are irreversible. A lot of conditions which have gone through a pathological state where it cannot be reversed. Okay, something, for example, it could be something like advanced arthritis, it can be high blood pressure, it can be diabetes. Okay, so there are definitely a handful of conditions which you cannot reverse. Okay, like cancer, for example, you cannot come to a homeopath and say, I believe that homeopathy can take care of it from the roots. No, that's not going to be possible. You can definitely palliate the condition. You can definitely offer relief, improve the immunity of the patient. You could do a lot of things to bring about betterment in the patient's health overall, but it's not possible to cure everything. So let's be practical, and I'm pretty sure your doctor, your homeopath, would be able to describe this in more detail. The third one, which is commonly asked, is that you're supposed to stop tea, coffee, onions, anything that is strong. That's true, but it's not entirely true. You can consume these things, but you should definitely keep a gap of maybe 30 minutes to an hour before and after taking the homeopathic medicines, because remember, homeopathic medicines are absorbed from the mouth, from the oral cavity. So if there is something that's strong in your oral cavity, you consume very soon before and after, then the effect of the homeopathic medicines also gets nullified, or some say antidote. So yes, you should keep a gap, but completely stopping sometimes is not practical. So it's okay to take, but definitely keep a gap. The fourth very common question, and a lot of doctors or homeopaths get offended when a patient asks them whether homeopathic medicines contain steroids. Okay, now you need to know that homeopathic medicines are homeopathic, allopathic medicines are allopathic, steroid is an allopathic medicine. The only way uh, homeopathic medicine would contain steroids is if the doctor, without telling you, mixes the steroid and administers it to you. Well, anybody who's reputed and who has years of experience is not going to do something like that. Okay, it could probably happen in a small town, but don't be worried about somebody who's absolutely well settled in their practice. They would not do something like this. uh, you also need to know that homeopathic medicines can work pretty fast. So a lot of times allopathic doctors say that they could have mixed something. Well, it's not true either. So let's come to the next myth and fact, that homeopathic medicines work very slowly. Well, that's not true either. Simple conditions like allergies, you could have something like even asthma, um, okay, regular cold and cough, joint pains. There can be, there are innumerable number of conditions. Now, all these conditions could work beautifully, and you could get relief with homeopathic medicines in practically hours, or maybe in a day or two. So a lot of doctors feel sometimes, the doctor could have mixed something in the homeopathic medicine. Well, that's not true. So homeopathic medicines do work fast, and they can work within minutes, sometimes in an hour, sometimes within a day or two. Okay, so do not get caught up in this thing that homeopathic medicines could contain something other than homeopathic medicines. So that was something that is a very common question, and a lot of homeopaths do get offended simply because it's like you're, having a doubt on their reputation. So somebody could get offended, but be a little bit sensitive when you ask somebody about this. Okay. The next point, I'll just refer to the next common question, is homeopathic medicines and allopathic medicines cannot go together. Well, they can go together. There is absolutely no interaction between the two, lines of treatment. They can be given together. Um, Ideally, they should be given maybe 30 minutes or an hour apart. But they have no interaction. Even if you pop the two together, there's going to be no side effects at all. So nothing to worry over there either. You can take homeopathy with Ayurveda, with allopathy, with any other thing like a supplement. You could take it, but ideally keep a gap. Also remember, homeopathic medicines need to be dissolved in the mouth. You do not drink water on top of your homeopathic medicine, because it's not the gut from where your medicine gets absorbed, it's from your oral cavity for it to work the best. Okay. The next point let's talk about is homeopaths are not trained as well as allopaths. Uh, See, homeopaths and allopaths are given the same training. The only difference is that allopaths are taught allopathic medicines, so their pharmacopoeia is different. Homeopaths have their homeopathic pharmacopoeia. So, as far as their knowledge about disease and pathology and all kinds of things what they're supposed to know medically is absolutely perfect, and is the same as an allopath. Yes, they're not taught all the allopathic medicines, but they have pretty much good knowledge about it. In fact, a lot of allopathic doctors themselves are the ones who test the homeopath during examinations. So do not worry, they are very well trained. I'm talking of definitely the homeopathic degree students. I'm not talking of, you know, diplomas, or maybe, there are a lot of nowadays courses on the internet. I'm not talking of those kinds of things, but I'm talking of a proper homeopathic practitioner who's done his degree. Okay, so I think we've addressed most of the myths and facts. So I'll tell you the same again. So one is homeopathy is absolutely safe and has no side effects. It does it cure all conditions? No, it cannot. It can cure many, but it can also palliate a lot. The next was, do homeopathic medicines contain steroids? Absolutely not. You do not have to worry as long as you are under the care of a good homeopath and a reputable one. The next was whether you can take onions, garlic, coffee, and tea. Well, as I mentioned, you can, but keep an interval of half an hour to an hour because homeopathic medicines are absorbed from the oral cavity. The next was, is homeopathic slow? Not at all. In most conditions which can bring about a quick recovery, homeopathic medicines can work within minutes, hours, and maybe in a day or two. Yes, there are a lot of conditions which are irreversible and can be palliated, and in those cases, you need to definitely take it for a longer duration. The next was, can homeopathy and allopathy go together? It definitely can. Keep an interval though, and you should be fine. And the last one was, are homeopaths trained as allopaths? Are trained, and yes, the answer is you do not have to worry. Their education is the same, and they are as well trained as any other medical profession. Thank you.